The song is Sprite. We are starting off with Lorem because, as I said, Lorem's first 2 dates are terrible, but it gets better. So let's go to Lorem's 3rd date. Let's go for it. I wonder if it matters if you do capital or not there. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, Lorem's first 2 dates are terrible because there's so much jumping. Lore dump. Like, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. It's just, oh, let's talk about this stuff. It's like, okay, fine if you're interested in that, but it doesn't really make a date if all you talk about is an interest of that kind. Like, I know talking about interest is part of dating, but it's kind of weird when you don't get any control for what that interest is the point of problem. And it's not even something generic. It's like, oh, specifically about this world. I mean, I guess also the point of it, but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't really feel like it ever manages to kick any emotional gears, which is weird. Oh. I like that. See, got a little bit of emotional sass there. Of like, well, I can't imagine anything. Well, if that was true, then Lorem's character would have been more interesting, because if he wasn't just a dude making video games, but instead he was a dude who was actually into this, like this is his job, is he's an artifactor, that would have been much more interesting, and it would have made his conversation more understandable. Instead, he's just a dude, and this is his hobby that he wants to, like, it's a little bit more difficult to get into. Maybe just for me. Maybe it's just not something I'd personally be too invested in. Like, if he's talking about his job, I don't know, it's a weird emotional disconnect in my brain there. Yeah, the thing about the dynamicness of dates, we are approaching a point where everything is becoming horribly static, and I'm going to start getting a little bit sad. Because the game starts off pretty strong, Lorem notwithstanding, and kind of loses some of its power momentum as it goes along, as it really starts being, this is what the date is. Man, I miss Adine's, like, the magazine date, which is like, this is her character showing itself, and this is what she wants to do, you know? Ah, now I'm sad. That shouldn't have done that. I like this, because this implies that in a few months' time, an entire store in the middle of nowhere just sunk into the ground. I remember a trick for that. It's like you hold some heat near it so that the edges start going black and frayed. It's a cool trick, but you might start a fire and burn your paper. You gotta know what you're doing. Like, the best thing you can do with anything, if you're trying to do anything that could potentially damage what you're trying to work with, is experiment with a blank canvas. Experiment with something that isn't too bad if you lose it, so you can master it a bit, and the odds of breaking what you want to not break is lower. Also love how the ticket has expired. I like to imagine that when someone gave this to Lorem, he imagined that Lorem would go do it right away and they could enjoy some pizza together. But, like, it's implied that he's given it as a present. It's someone he knows. It could also just be someone who was like, it's just so weird. But yeah, I still do think that there should have been something to this. Like, as you're positive and negative, according to these dates, it doesn't ruin the date, but it does make Lorem more or less interested in the situation. You know, it's kind of like if you're nice and Lorem gets like, oh man, like he gets more talkative and more interested. And as you're mean and distant, like certain options close off. When at the end of it, it's like, well, this was nice, I guess. But if you do good, he's like, wah. You don't always have to account for bad and good. You could just say the date went average, and the best case scenario is just so much better. You know, like not everything has to be able to end terribly. It could also just end meh. Just meh. People say, but that's not... No. Choice isn't that you can be evil or nice. Sometimes choice is you can be nicer or nice. You can shift the scale of the spectrum to make it work. Like people are like, but if you make choice, you gotta be able to kill... No. Offering choice does not mean you can kill everyone you want. It can sometimes be something else. It can be you can help specifically the people that you care for instead of every single person a little bit. You know? Like that kind of choices. Like moral decisions that are always... that are good, or it could be evil. Like you could be evil to this one guy and just spite the shit out of him, or punish everyone equally. You know, that kind of stuff. Like, people tend to go too fast to you need to offer good and bad. How about you just offer neutral and good, or neutral and bad, or instead of extremes, it's like there's a slight gradient, like a little bit of choice. It's like, okay, we got the last ice cream. You can share it with that girl, or you can keep it for yourself, but everyone else already got a free one, so you're just giving one person extra, and that kind of stuff. I got a pen! Didn't he tell you to get your robes? What? How does he know about robes? I just... Like, see, this is like Lorem. Just Lorem as a person, as a character, instead of Lorem as a fucking exposition dump. So, this thing is kind of weird. It's don't know much about the area. I decided to elaborate a bit because I think it just means you don't know much about the environment, you don't know much about the layout, you don't know much about the history. So I'm elaborating that a little bit because I don't think it works. Yeah, it doesn't work too well if you go flat Dutch in that. This is so awkward to do, by the way. If something bothers the shit out of me... So, there's done and als. Als is if something is equal. He is as strong as me. If he is stronger than me, so there's a difference, then it's... For some god-awful reason, everyone always says als. That's not how comparative terms work. There's a reason that in this... Like, it's the same with, like, one. There's a reason you have singular and plural. Is because there's an important distinction there. If something is equal, you want a word so that instantly someone knows it's equal. If there's a difference, it can be like, okay, there's a difference. I know that much. Disparity. Disparity and equilibrium are two very distinct properties, and... Fun, delicious, fantastic. Can I say that the instructions are kind of weird? I love how Relieved is here. In case you don't know, Relieved is like a very downtrodden version of... Like, it... I understand that there's some, like, overlap between things, but Lorem Relieved does not look like Lorem Relieved. He's like, oh, You look so sad. And there's also sad, which looks... You can get Lorem sad or even sadder flavor. It's all whatever you want. What's the backdrop anyway? It's weird how you arrive at his house. And I don't think you can see... Yeah, it's just scene. Black. Okay, Lorem is visible at this point. Okay, 04. So this is now a location. What is 04 again? Is that his house? I think that is his... Oh, that's my house. Okay, so Lorem comes in our house. Ah, the things you can learn when you learn. Learn, learn, learn. Like, I just like how you can be that kind of sassy. That's like, again, like, what's going on that this date is suddenly immediately not bad and just gets off on this is people and characters and moments, and it's not just you being in like a semi-official capacity. I think that's kind of what ruins is the context of the official capacity. Like, is there any like? I guess with Bryce or your first date, you show up in the official capacity of I have information about Urza. Okay. But that official capacity, like, ends there immediately. It's very short, it's very brief, and then you go on to the bar, and it's like, okay, you have a little chat about Resident, and you're like, okay. And it's like a layup. Like, the whole date is actually getting drunk. And learning to accept that Bryce is an alcoholic and can't do shit about it, which, again, is kind of interesting. It's kind of weird that you solve Anna's and, like, Remy's problem, but not Adine or anyone else's, really. Like, even Lorem's problems are only, like, alleviated to some moderate extent. I'm annoyed. Tomorrow they're coming back, and I'm not in a fucking mood for it. I hate it! I hate it! I love being alone! Like, there's so many benefits to it. I love it. It makes me sad. It makes me fucking nervous. Those kids are annoying as shit, man. Like, if anything would ever motivate me to just start living on my own, this is it. This is the moment where I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't care about the benefits of living with someone else. I'm done. Oh, I can't take this. I just like being able to do what I want to do. Not have to worry about my decency is great. Why the hell is this factory-like building so close to the fucking school? You don't build a school next to a chemical plant like that. I still don't get, like, the thing that gets me about this, and this is, like, the thing that jumps out immediately. What is the context of this? Like, how did Lorem get this, and why is it... Like, who gave this to Lorem? And, like, someone set this up, and this all has managed to survive for apparently months. It's just so weird. It's just so freaking weird. Yeah, that doesn't work. Oh man, I'm just so annoyed they're coming back. Like, it's so nice to be alone. Oh. All day, just me. to myself, getting to relax, getting to focus on improving myself as a person. I think that's why I'm so angry at them all the time. I'm so frustrated. It's so interesting that the player never gets, like, it's always just C, which is, I don't know, it's something that jumps out at me. Never any defining traits to that one. Oh, like, this is another weird plot dump, but it's really brief. It's just this. This is the plot dump. I wonder if at this point Lorem knows. Yeah, like this, he knows now. Which is kind of interesting. The thing that gets me is they're actually why did I pick that word? Dutch education recently had a bit of an overhaul where they wanted to readjust the mandatory education, compulsory education, I guess. We just call it eerplicht, which means education duty. And I think they extended it from 16 to 18 or something, regardless on if you've passed anything, which is kind of weird. The interesting thing is, in the Netherlands, high school education, which is nothing like yours, there's a very, like, I still don't know what middle school is. We have elementary, which is 1 to 8 years. Groep. Then you go to high school, which is 1 to 6 years, depending on what you're, is 4 to 6 years. So you got 1 to 8 elementary, then you got 1 to 4 or 5 or 6. If you go lowest education, you go 4. If you go highest education, you go 6. You've got Vambio, which is like you have a brain, I guess. You have Habo, which is you are intelligent enough to be doing some sort of expert job. And then you've got Vabio. And Vabio is like university, you're going to be a smartass. You're not going to be doing any real job. You're going to be, you know, the theoretical kind of person. And it depends on where you go. And you can say, I want this, and this subject. Like, I want mathematics. I think it's after a certain point. Like, I think it's after the 3rd year you get to decide that. You're like, okay, I want to study biology and like geography. Or no, wait, where it works is you have several packages, which are like, you can go with all maths, and you get more maths. There are some cores that are always going to show up, and you also have some room for like choices. You can be like, okay, I want to do this and this. I think languages, like, you always have to do multiple languages, and in some cases you can be like, okay, I want to replace that with something else. But you get a lot of like power and choice over what you want to learn, and if it fits, it fits. It's great. So there's a lot of flexibility there. I don't get the feeling that's really how American systems work. There's a lot less flexibility in that. On the other hand, a downside of that is that you kind of have to think about, okay, does this education system really work? Like, the degree I got mostly focuses on mathematics, and doesn't have biology in it, so, you know. I think it's only maths that had, like, several levels. It was A, B, C, D. I think A and B were, like, the higher ones, and then C and D were, like, the basic ones. Practical. Yeah. I don't know if I'd like that. I think there's a very strong weakness to this, is that you're basically going to suffer of information deterioration over time much faster than anything else. Because the school helps people find themselves to some limited extent. I mean, sure, school tends to suck if you don't organize it properly, but there are downsides to not having it too. Like here, you could make this come up later, like which one you pick influences things too. What was it again? I think it was... I know that the two of them, one of them was like physics, one of them was like hard maths, was like hard, like alpha, or I don't even know anymore. And then one of them was like society and whatnot. Get your social degree, you fucking idiot. How about you learn some goddamn statistics? You can use that. Like, I understand the need for researchers that do gender and social studies, but at the same time, it's not really a degree you need many people in. I feel universities should be like, we're going to take this many people into this, and that's it. Because at some point, if you have hundreds of people following gender studies and nobody's following mathematics, then yes, your country might eventually start to suck, because you don't need gender studies to fuel your economy. You need people doing innovations and inventions and keeping track of mathematics and maintaining information systems. Which, fun fact, gender studies doesn't teach you that. Ugh. Like, I feel gender studies is like the problem gender studies is trying to solve. It's like, we want more women in STEM. Well, good fucking job. You just made an easy degree that women can take that does not involve STEM. Kudos moon to you. What about liberal arts studies? Don't... Like, the thing with liberal arts studies is, I understand you want to be an artist, but the degree is more a facilitator for communications and networks than anything else. Which is ironic, because the one thing it doesn't promote is what it's for. Haha! But yeah. I do feel that eventually, though, we're not going to need many people for much anyway, so... Who knows? It'll be scary and spooky. I forgot what it was called. Shit! How do I forget this? I know, I remember. How do I explain this? What it says? Build and deforming. It means image shaping. I guess that's what you do. Oh my, I'm done. I'm going to talk about that one at length later, but Lorem, art doesn't need a justification. I just want to know, for a video game developer who is also a delivery person, how far up your ass is that stick?